And this last time, after 6 times in the hospital, with all the news, and guess what? Within a week, he's down to VA, where he needed to be 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, or months ago, and it took the news to open up the eyes of everybody else. But I did, Chris did want me to tell you that he did work with the VA in 9/10, and he was up there once, and he said it was horrible. Some of the nurses up there are provokers, they want to fight, and I know things definitely need to be changed. He was very upset about that, and he was up there. So, thank you very much.
We're going to try to squeeze in two unannounced speakers that we have here. At this time, Louis Campbell, please come up. This is two last additions.
My name is Mr. Campbell. I have been suffering from PTSD since 2005. As many of you can see, I showed up a little well dressed today. I couldn't tell you when the last time I wore something this nice it was. If I had my way, I'd rip it off right now and run out the door. Honestly. Sitting over here, I can't keep my legs still. I don't know what to say. I do have a DD214 problem as well, like some of the other veterans. I have been treated on 10D. I've witnessed some of the things that we've heard about today. I have also heard rumors that there will be changes at 10D. Speaking with some of the higher ups, that there will be separations soon to come that will be positive in action. So I'm hopefully looking forward to that, because that's well needed and due to come, hopefully. Last night, I was speaking to my wife. I had seen my counselor early yesterday morning, my counselor that I see regularly. And the night before, I was watching TV, and I was watching about Afghanistan, and I was watching about Kandahar Air Force Base. And they were speaking about the medics there. And they showed an 8-year-old boy, 9-year-old boy, and he had gotten hurt, and they were sucking his mouth out with one of the tubes, and it triggered a flashback for me of the sight I saw in Iraq, where about the same age boy was decapitated in front of his mother and his sister. And the rest of the night I was quiet, irrational. It was hard for me to speak to my wife, and I kind of gave her a cold shoulder, and in return she did the same to me. And after telling my counselor this, she told me, why don't you try to speak to your wife about it? So when I went home, it took me all night to finally come to the nerve to tell her. And I told her, I said, baby, I said, you know why I acted the way I did last night? And she said, why? And I told her, you know how I saw that little boy? And I told her the story of how I saw that little boy get killed. And I told her how his mother wouldn't stop screaming. And I told her I would never get that out of my head. And I told her it would live with me until I die. And I told her sometimes I wish that I would die just so I never have to see these things again. And, to get this stuff off my chest, it felt good. But right after, I was the complete numb, same person that I am right now as I stand before you. I have no conscience anymore. I have no morals. I have no consequences. I have no remorse. This is what I live with day to day. I could give almost. I could care less about any of you, any of myself. It's the PTSD. This is what it does to us. I take medications like Jeremy does. I have my pill containers. I carry a prescription in my car so when I get pulled over, the cops don't think I'm carrying illegal drugs on me. is my day-to-day life, and I live it day-to-day. And until we get better health, this is what we live with day-to-day. It's never going to change, it's never going to end until somebody wakes up and they see what we go through day-to-day. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I was just still brought to aware that there's a mayor here from Tonawanda. Mayor Seuss, North Tonawanda. Mayor Seuss. At this time, I want to wrap up the last speaker. This is our Iraq War vet. You may have known him. Mr. John Powers.
First off, I want to thank Robert for hosting us today. You did a wonderful job. And to each of you that spoke earlier, thank you for your courage to stand up and tell your story. And for Chris's wife, thank you for coming out on his behalf. I think each of us have been to a place that most people don't understand. And you come home and you try to tell the stories and you try to connect with your wives or your family across that barrier. The VA is supposed to be there to help make that connection. So we recently marked the 5th anniversary of the war in Iraq. This third longest war in American history. Over 1.5 million men and women in war uniform served their country. That's less than 1/2 of 1% of the American public. Many men and women in uniform are going back for third and fourth tours, and because the current rotations are getting less than 1 year at home for 15 to 18 month tours to recover from the time. Each of these soldiers is incredibly courageous for what they're doing, and I think each of us have a responsibility to salute them for that bravery, for standing up for our country, for doing what they're doing. Because as veterans of Operation Iraqi Freedom, I spent nearly 15 months in Iraq as a captain of the 1st Armored Division. We understand firsthand the daunting tasks that our brothers and sisters are facing. But we also understand firsthand the difficulties that they face when they come home. I fully believe that the American people wish to honor the contract that they have made with their soldiers who've gone out to serve. I fully believe that the American people want to treat them for their mental and physical wounds when they come home. And I also understand that the Veterans Administration is trying. Unfortunately, they have suffered from the same lack of planning that our warfighters faced when they went into Iraq in 2003. I understand the quantity or the quality of the care. The doctors and nurses are trying, but the quantity is incredibly overwhelming to them. Consider the following facts. Between April 2005 and April 2006, the number of veterans waiting their first primary care appointment. Wait times to see a doctor are 6 months or longer. 24% of VA traumatic brain injury patients are required to wait more than a month for their recovery, for their first appointment. The current Army suicide rate is the highest it has been in 26 years. 30 to 40% of those Iraq veterans coming home from this war, doing 3 to 4 tours, about 500,000, will face serious mental health injuries. It's not an illness, it's an injury that has to be addressed. Washington is continuing to fail these soldiers. We need to address those problems. As I said, as we mark the 5th anniversary of the war, we are still without a comprehensive strategy to address the growing problem of our soldiers coming home. We have people representing our elected officials today. We thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what those elected are doing. But we have to do more. We need leadership in Washington that understands the problems that these men and women are facing. We need to develop solutions such as streamlining the Defense Department and the VA healthcare, so that, for instance, when I got out of the military, my healthcare records should have transferred. I know they're working on it, but in 2003, 2004, I have no idea where my Department of Defense healthcare records went. How is a doctor supposed to provide me the care they need? We need to create a VA outreach program to help veterans understand the language of the benefits they're receiving.